All right, here's another quick message. Well, I'm hoping it's gonna be quick. So I get back today and got up and got ready. I feel a burp coming. Okay, maybe not. And how do I long story short this? Long story short, I made sure we have what we need and fed Teddy and because we were trying to get out of here and beat the rain, it was I didn't make the time to eat. And then we went for a little nature walk, and I brought some soybeans, so I did eat some of those. But we got back and I'm just and I worked out yesterday. So it's we got back and I'm just beat. And I'm and then Tay's needing food and he's trying to I'm trying to not chill this. Anyways, I had to get prep it for him, and it was one of those moments of I need to stop. And my guidance was you need to make sure you're nurturing yourself and everything. So I'm drinking some tomato juice and whatever. But then I'm having this. I'm asking for I'm asking them for guidance on I really want to do make the changes I need to make and be better about nourishing myself and making sure that, and it's weird because it's and this is part of any kind of people who have any kind of ED, part of healing it is this mechanical process because you're literally having to reprogram yourself. And it is very, it is really sick. It's kind of, it's genuinely these different, I mean, it's connected with mental health. So it kind of is a sickness in a way. But anyway, but then it came to me and I'm I know that this is something I need to do and I have to do and I'm responsible for it. And, but it was it came to me that it was there were just a bunch of different flashbacks that I was getting. And I'm I remember different times when my mom would guilt me or shame me about these things. She was you studied nutrition, you know how to take care of yourself and these different things. And then I think about it hit me that it was all those times that I went to the gym and I just spent hours at the gym. It was just a full blown addiction. And I was old enough. Yes, baby. I was old enough to, make those decisions on my own, but it was still as a parent, I was 15, 16, I guess I was, hang on, quiet, man. I was 16 because I was driving, but I was I'm thinking about me and I'm with how I am even, which anyway, just I'm someone, when someone loves you, they're they check up on you and they say things hey, quiet or it's outside. They say things hey, I don't think this is healthy, or I don't think it's normal to spend, and I'm sure that it did come up at some point, but it was 2 o'clock. What was the other thing? There was another example that was coming to me. Crap. Oh, when I was struggling with these anger issues. We'd be here all day with the stories. When my mom and I had a tiff over me choosing to feed my kid formula when I was struggling to make milk as a first time mom, and she literally booted us out of the house. Well, I was with John at that point, and we went back to our apartment, but it's it just gets crazy. But anyway, that's that decision thing. Especially as a new mom, it's understandable that you're going to have disagreements, with your family, and that she had a right to be mad about it, but it was going to the point of kicking someone out because they're making what they feel is the best decision for their kid. That's when I really started to see that. But then I still went back after I needed it. This is hairy. It's hard to give up on family. Anyway, my family, like, I was struggling with this anger that, like, after having Teddy, and I had this explosive moment after my mom was, when Teddy wasn't even diagnosed yet, but I was like, he was going through testing, and she was throwing all this paperwork at me over and over and over, and I had asked her at least once, like, please stop, I need time to process this. And there was a bunch of other stuff going on. I remember there was like a lot going on at that point, and I was working and stuff, and it was like I was overwhelmed. And Teddy was a toddler at that point and stuff like that. And I'm gonna turn some lights on. My mom, like, called, and I did it. That was one of the most, like, intense moments. And it absolutely was like something I needed to, like, same thing, like with the ED. It's like, it's my responsibility. I needed to be addressed and everything. But it was like, she called a family meeting and brought everyone together. So it was like, it just made me feel ashamed. It was just like, threw shame on me over, like, this thing that was like, okay, well, this is still something that I have to, like, cope with. And like, and so, I mean, that's my point, is like, I'm not saying that, absolutely, like, our families, they do the best that they can with what they've got. And, it's weird because I just wanted to give examples that were coming to me. Like, I remember I used to rub my mom's feet because she'd be on her feet all day, and she had tired feet. And I don't know, I don't even know how it started or why. I've always been that type, though. Like, I'm still that way. I love nurturing. I should have probably done healthcare, or, I mean, I kind of am that caretaker now with this one. But we need to clean you up now. Let's go wash your hands. I should have done this as a live. But I remember she would just be, like, watching TV and just be, like, cold. And it was just, and then I remember this, like, very vividly. For some reason, I remember one night my mom had, my parents weren't able to work it out, and my mom started staying upstairs with us. We slept upstairs, and my dad was downstairs. And so I know that I can't imagine what that was like for her and how hard that would be. But anyway, I remember, like, I kissed her on the cheek and told her goodnight, and she, like, didn't even turn her face and say anything to me. It was just one of those, like, moments of just, like, that's what it was like. That it was like, it wasn't like my family didn't try, or they weren't ever thoughtful, or they didn't care about us at all. But it was like, there was no emotional, like, so that's why, for me as a mom, and then having disagreements and instead of it being like we could have discussions and be there for each other, you get, doors slammed in your face, or you get the gray rocked or kicked out of the house, and that's when it's like, that's like the highest level of toxic that you get. I mean, that's not true. It can get more abusive, but, I don't know if I want to give these other examples. I was thinking about with my dad, it was like, he used to pick me up. He would pick me up from riding because it was so late at night, and my mom just didn't want to have to deal with it, I guess. So my dad would pick me up after, like, when I was done, after work or whatever. And, he was sweet, and sometimes he would, like, get me a Gatorade or, like, some chips. Like, he always was, like, I don't know, was cute like that. But, like, I remember there were a couple of different instances where it was like, and he was an alcoholic. Like, he went to rehab at least once, but he was like, and still is, like, a working alcoholic or something, and functional alcoholic is what they call it, because he just drinks at night, and has been laboring since I've known him. Like, he's always worked 5 to 7 days a week, and, like, that's his life. But one time he was, like, eating a snack, and he just chunked the trash out the window. And I remember I was just like, I was little at that point. I don't know how old I was, and I just remember being like, oh my God. And he said something about it, and I was just like, what in the world? And then, like, there was another time where he had, for a little while, we lived out on the water, like way out in the country, and there was this other little plot of land that he owned for a while. His family owned it or something. And there were these, one night we were coming home, and there were these guys with their four-wheel. It was just a plot of land. They had cleared it, and they hadn't built anything on it yet. And these guys were out there, and they were like, dirt mounds or whatever. And these guys were out there on their either dirt bikes or a four-wheeler doing rounds. And my dad went over there and just like bullied them and said, this is private, even though there's no signs, I don't think, or anything. Then it was like, this is private property. And I don't even remember what all he said. It was just there were things like that were like, it just gave me this like, I don't want to, that's not how I want to be. And thankfully my dad, I don't ever recall my dad being like aggressive when he was drinking or anything like that. But it just showed me that it was like, especially and I've just seen this a lot with men. I'm not trying to put this on men, because I think it's just anybody, if you have this, this part of you that you try to like hide, that it's like it comes out when you're drinking. But I just remember that kind of two-facedness and how scary it was. And I even told my mom that. I was like, I don't feel, and we had to live with him for a while, and it was the same. It was scary, because it's just like he like had just loses control. Like he would lose body control and stuff. And it's just, he's like, men are supposed to be the ones that you feel safe with, that are protectors. But it's like men who get so drunk that they can't even function. It's like they act out or whatever. It's like they're not a protector. They're not there to protect you. And I mean, of course, we all get like that sometimes and everything. I'm just using that as like, that's how it felt. Growing up. I don't know that I'm going to post this because it's gotten dragged out, but, I wanted to end with the things that are like, what I feel like for me that I'm like, that are hated. Well, it's speaking your truth and like, just different things about women. Like I even think about the witchiness of women, and when you kind of come back to yourself, you're kind of witchier again. And it's like, world doesn't like that. And, being like not showing up. It's funny because people, it's always one of those, like, it doesn't matter, you're going to get hated on. But I mean, if I'm not people pleasing, it's going to be something like the fact that I don't always like look put together, or and I don't wear, I've never been a big makeup wearer. Once in a while I'll put some eyeshadow on or lipstick, but I need to finish this up because I got to check on him. But I'm like I was someone that like stuck up for people. I liked being there for people when they were like going through something, like, they needed someone to like listen to them or hug them or whatever. And I'm like, that's what a true friend and someone that really loves you does. And to me, that's what a parent does. It's like, there's all these different, there's a laundry list. There's just, you gotta play all these different roles, for your kids. But it's like, if you love them, you make these sacrifices, and you don't do things like kick them out of your house because you have a disagreement. It's like, it doesn't even add up to me. And so it's just like, I'm sure that I didn't get more spankings, I guess. I mean, I definitely remember being spanked some, but I'm sure I didn't get in more trouble than what I did because I started fawning. I remember I started getting like introverted. My sister was very chatty. So she needed that. That was just a part of who she is. She's an air sign and whatever. And it's, and I'm not hating on that at all. It's just like, to me, it's like kind of a personality thing. But so she would always every day at school, after school, and like all, she still, I think, calls and talks to my mom and stuff. So she kind of like used up a lot of that space, I guess, and I just was okay being quiet. And then it's kind of funny because that's sort of become more of a personality trait for me. And also it's like, it shows you when you start to become someone that's speaking your truth, what people's true intentions really were, how they really felt about you. And that's scary when it comes to like your family, because it's like, it's one thing for it to be like a friend, you know, that still is painful, especially if you did, you know, have secrets that you told them, or, you know, like you had something about that's like, but still, it's just, to me, it's family. It's like, you should be willing to see past your differences because your family, that's your child. Like, it's like stuff like that it's just like you'll never be the same after that, after you realize that like your family has hidden animosity or jealousy towards you. And we still send them love, of course, and I still like I still will hold a space for them always, but it's like they don't love you if I don't know, man. I think maybe there's a level of care that they still hold for you. And of course, it's like I'm an adult now, so it's not like my family is like. But that's to me where it gets really scary and toxic, because then it's like you go to them because you're in a place like with me with Teddy and you're needing help and you're trying to get back on your feet. Instead of them helping you, they make your life harder and they make it a nightmare. Not to say that I wasn't making choices, but I've been trying to take all my power back and be a better person and get all these other things like during all this time. It wasn't like getting into drugs and anything or anything like that. So I don't know why I'm saying all this. It's just that's coming to me, and so I just wanted to speak that for anybody else who's just like, you know, because there will always be that part of me that's like, you know, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future if my parents are going to need like physical support, because they have helped us, you know, financially, but I regret that, you know, like I regret that not really the moment that I don't regret it fully, because we've had shelter and that's been a blessing. But like, aside from that, I regret it because it's like everything about that has been painstaking. And yet at the same time, I know that it's also been all this healing and me getting on my path and that sort of thing. But it's been drawn out for 4 years now. Like, I didn't want to be here for 4 years or be underneath other people for that amount of time, or not have options and possibilities and support and all of these things. So, there, the burp came. Okay. So it is what it is, y'all. I don't know. There's just things that are unfolding right now, and I'm just, sometimes you do need to like speak it, because it's like there's like a need to be in solitude and quiet and stillness, and then there's also like, I don't know, man. It is what it is, because it's like, you know, it's cool because, you know, like that, I get that too. Like it's cool that like, you know, I need to do what I need to do to be stand on my own 2 feet and be sovereign, and like my parents don't owe me all this, but I kind of feel like that decision was taken away from me when we signed up for this. I'm not saying I didn't. Obviously I agreed to it and everything, but it was kind of like they were superseding like me, because it's like, okay, I haven't done these things before, so they knew better. And it's kind of like, well, not exactly, but I think it all leads to like us finding the right people, the people that are meant for you, that are going to give you, it's the difference of like giving you the hard truth of like, hey, you know, you need to do what you have to do to figure this out, or, you know, I can help you here, but this isn't going to work type of thing, instead of trying to like swindle or dupe people, or, put them on the wrong path, like send them the wrong way. But then you just see that it's like a lot of people resent that. A lot of people aren't gonna like that, because they just want to hear what they want to hear, what's gonna feel good right now. So, but then it's like, you know, the right people that can handle the reality that you know you're speaking are going to be your people. All right, this got really drawn out. It'd be hard sometimes having to only be, not have anybody to talk to. All right.